What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is Unitedverse. Everybody, I am your host, Sean, and it is that time once again, the time when silly season and the Premier League season overlap. And I hate that the transfer window goes into the season, by the way, just a little FYI, do not like that. But that's where we are now because Premier League football is back. The 25-26 Premier League season has officially arrived. I believe Liverpool and Bournemouth are literally kicking off the season as we speak right now. But we are here on the channel with our first official match preview of the season as United prepare to host Arsenal on Sunday. Can you believe it? It is already here. For those of you who are new, we don't just do transfer news. We don't just do like what ifs and stuff. We do match previews. We do match reactions. We do it all. So this is our first official one of the season. Of course, it's a decades-old rivalry harkening back to like the mid-90s, and then we get the early 2000s, and then, Arsenal kind of fell off the face of the earth a little bit. But this match in particular has a couple little mini stories unfolding with it. A little bit of Šeško and Gyökeres, striker versus striker kind of a situation. We've got an Arteta versus an Amorim situation. Two managers kind of under pressure for different reasons. We'll explore that a little bit today as well. So we'll take a look at that. We'll talk a little tactics, what we can expect to see, a little bit of team news. We got updates a little bit from Amorim's presser earlier. And of course, we'll take a look at your guys' starting 11s. Who do we think we want to see? Who do we think we will see? And then score predictions. First, though, we'll kick things off. We'll take a look at a couple little updates in terms of transfer news and whatnot as United relates to it. So that's what we are doing today, you guys. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on anything we put out. Make sure you check out those memberships. They are the best way for you to get more involved in the channel. I see Rob in the chat has stumbled upon the Cantona emoji that's available to the members as well. Go check out the UVE store if you want to get your hands on something like the OG green and gold, the Boom shirt, the 9.5, the class of 92 shirt. All of that is in the UVE store. Go check it out. And you can see at the top of the description of the video, use that code that's in the video description to go to GoGoalShop if you guys want to get your hands on any United jerseys and you don't want to spend an arm and a leg. They do have all three of this year's shirts up ready to go, including the new third, the black one that just came out. Use that code. You will get $5 off when you register with that code. Keep it in mind. I try to hook you guys up with as much as I can. First and foremost, though, you guys know I got to check in with the chat and see how everyone's doing on a Friday afternoon. Who's watching the Liverpool? Bro, I'm not watching. I could care less. Apparently, Ekitike scored, though. So there's that. Big up, Lucky. Hope you're doing well, my friend. He's getting his thoughts in on the midfielders. Yes, I did put a poll in the chat regarding some of the Baleva stuff we're going to talk about today. But get your thoughts in that poll. Let me know what you think is going to happen, what you'd like to see happen, all that stuff. Rob, big up. He found the Cantona emoji. Big up, Stephanie. Good to see you again back with the OG avatar. Welcome back. Danny B, my Irish brother from another mother. Hope you're doing well, man. Working today? Too hot? Getting off early? Let me know what you think. Stephanie thinks Baleva could still happen. Maybe deadline day deal. All right, big up. So let's see. Rob agrees. Maybe hope so, but maybe the price has made us walk away. Well, reportedly there is no price quite yet. Brighton have just officially been like not for sale. But we're going to talk about all that here in a second because I do want your thoughts. Danny says this is a shit end of the window. Anything other than Baleva is a failure. Always option B, C, or D. There's only so much you could do if Brighton just don't want to sell, and then it becomes a matter of how much you want to spend. So again, this isn't abnormal. This isn't out of the ordinary for transfers, but it's not over yet. It ain't over, but y'all let me know what you think might happen. Teresa, welcome back, Teresa. Hope you're doing well. I'm just getting caught up. Everybody's jumping in. I appreciate that, guys. Make sure you like and make sure you're subscribed if you are new, you guys. First up, though, as we talk about signings, the women's team pulled off a bit of a coup today. They announced the signing of Swedish forward Fridolina Rolf, who is obviously Swedish. I probably butchered that pronunciation. Sorry, anyone who is Swedish. But they picked her up on a 2-year deal after she and Barcelona agreed to terminate her contract, mutual consent. I like this signing, even if it's 2 years. It kind of has a Van Persie kind of vibe to it. So she's got a lot of trophies with Barcelona, with Wolfsburg. She's got some Champions Leagues with Barcelona, a lot of trophies with Wolfsburg and everything. She was just Swedish forward of the year 4 years in a row, Swedish female footballer of the year 2 years in a row as well, back in like 21, 22. So really good pickup. I think that she brings a lot of just class and just top level experience in terms of like it literally feels like when we signed Van Persie, kind of feels a little bit like when we signed Di Maria. Obviously that didn't turn out well, but think back before everything happened and just when we signed Di Maria, that's kind of what this is kind of like. So happy to see the women's team is not being neglected, and happy to see that we are trying to strengthen as well. We've got a really good women's team. You guys know I like a lot of those players. They're all very, very good. So let's see. Danny said Bollock's pissed over Baleba will be mid-table this season if we're lucky. Oh, no, Danny went from way up here to like way down here. That's a big drop. We're United. Ineos is making us bipolar in this transfer window. We're super, super happy, and then we're super, super down. Man, there's no gray here, but keeping it ain't over till it's over, Danny. So on Baleba though. So Fabian Hurtzler kind of basically stated in his presser today that he is, quote, confident Baleba is going to stay. We'll see what happens. It sounds like maybe his confidence could have some merit to it, because this came out from David Ornstein today as well. Probably you guys have probably already seen this, probably already discussed it. I haven't got your thoughts, though, so let's dive in. According to David Ornstein, United not planning to proceed with Carlos Baleba move this summer. Indirect contact between clubs, but Brighton clear, not for sale, and level of fee to consider deal too high. 21-year-old midfielder is keen to join United, but not unhappy. So basically, he wants United. He wants the move. He's not going to force it, basically. Probably not the update we all wanted to get today regarding Carlos Baleba, especially after the media built us up so heavily this past week. Honestly, again, I wouldn't put too much into this. Hurtzler is going to say that. The Brighton are always going to say, like, no, not for sale kind of thing. It's very normal. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just also not saying it's not going to happen. So wait and see. I think that two things. If we want Baleba, we have to get it done this summer, because next summer you're going to get into a bit of a bidding war. We kind of waited till other clubs were doing a lot of business, till there was nobody really else that was in form. We almost have a free run if we have the money. And I don't want to get into a bidding war in a year, but there's only so much you can do if Brighton just don't want to sell. And again, according to Romano and Ornstein, Brighton said not for sale. So the question then is, does money talk? Like, how much are you willing to spend to get Baleba done? He honestly, if this was going to get done, not only would we have to spend a lot of money, Baleba would have to push, coerce, convince Brighton to like just, hey, come on. We don't want to make this difficult kind of a thing. But again, he's keen on the move, but he also doesn't want to disrupt his relationship with Brighton, basically. So it's a difficult position to be in. But what do you guys think here? Push hard to get it done, or quickly. Again, the other option that I was going to say, option two, if we don't do Baleba, if we want Baleba, get it done. If you don't want Baleba, we need to pivot real quick to a second option. Doesn't mean the player is going to be just garbage or anything. Like, I know that we're probably tired of that, but there are a lot of good midfielders out there right now. So do we push hard to get this done, or we just immediately pivot to get someone else? To me, that means you have to kind of give up on Baleba, because I don't want to get into this trap that we've been into before, where maybe we couldn't get our first choice, so we had to spend money. I think that at proper rebuilds, you don't do that. Do you think we have a plan B? Could we go back in for Holman that we were linked with not that long ago? Gabriel Serra, we were linked with. Hackney is still kicking around out there. You guys let me know your thoughts in the comments, because I want to jump right into those. Can we afford to wait a year? I know there's some talk maybe we could wait a year and come back for him next summer. Can we afford to do that? Is Baleba or a midfielder of that ilk so crucial to this season that it would hurt us too much to not bring someone in this summer? You guys let me know. Let me see what you guys are saying here. Danny says, we don't get him now, we won't get him at all. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Danny says, yeah, PSG or City. Yeah, I didn't realize Rodri was injured still. That's crazy. That's like, he spent like, how do you get a Ballon d'Or when you're injured? I don't know. Whatever, it is what it is. Let's see. Big up, Box. Good to see you again. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you, Box. Yeah, he's not pushing for the move, of course. He just, again, it's just one of those things where I'm like, if he would really need to help us out to help us get this over the line, and that's just what he would have to do. So Rob says job is done for Special Agent Onana. Now we can buy a keeper. That would be awesome if we could go ahead and get a new keeper. And what are you guys saying here in the poll? Let me check this poll real quick. So far, you guys think 40% of you think we're still signing him. 50% of you say not going to happen. 10% say move on to plan B targets, and nobody wants to wait a year. Big up, Samuel. Good to see you again. Says Ineos should just pay the money for Carlos Baleba, fraud millionaires. Well, again, I know we've got this credit facility, but again, the money is finite. We've got the credit facility. I think if Garnacho were to be sold and maybe Anthony and Sancho go, then the conversation gets a little interesting. But again, just because the owners, just in general, just for footballing sake and PSR, just because your owners are rich doesn't mean you can necessarily spend all that money in a transfer window. So it's, rich owners don't necessarily mean a whole lot. So yeah, Stephanie, football transfers always have twists and turns. Look at Mbumo earlier in the window. Yeah. Well, there's not 7 weeks left. We've got like 2 weeks left. We need to get this done if we're going to do it. So yeah, if he does hand in a transfer request, it would help us massively. The problem is it's like, we would have to be like his dream move, basically, because there are, as Danny pointed out, there's going to be loads of clubs that are going to come in for him. Like there just are. And so, it's got to be now or never for Baleba. And if it's not now, then we have to go and get somebody else who's just as good. So Danny said, just go get Hackney and Ugume for 50 million, 2 players. I mean, you guys, if you've been following the channel for any number of months or weeks, we do a lot of scouting reports. You will have seen pretty much, somebody, if Danny, you might remember how many, but we've looked at like at least a dozen midfielders who are, I've looked at them, they're physical, they've got good ball progression, good age as well. Like, I mean, there's a lot of them out there. There's plenty of them out there. Box says, Brighton said not selling, nothing we can do. Yeah, and that's why I asked to start. Like, does money talk? Is it just a negotiation tactic? Is it just to get some of that Caicedo money? Like, I don't know what number we think is going to get this done, but it would be very, 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 very high. Rodri's re-injured till September. Jeez, man, how many months does that guy miss, dude? Messed up. Oh, somebody's giving me some Liverpool updates. I mean, we all kind of had a feeling about that, right? Like it's Liverpool versus Bournemouth. Bournemouth have literally just lost a bunch of players. Have Bournemouth even signed anybody this summer? They've really only lost like their entire back line, basically. They didn't really bring anybody else in, did they? So I don't know what we were expecting. I feel bad for Andoni Iraola. I really do. I worry for Bournemouth. Be prepared, though, when Dylan and I come back and we do this season prediction, because we're going to be going, top 7, 8, and then maybe who's going to get relegated. We could just go through the whole Premier League table and kind of pick our, how we think the tables are going to look. But I worry about Bournemouth. I worry for Brentford as well. I think Burnley are probably just going to be a yo-yo club forever. But Box says, go for Stiller and Kamara. Again, you're listing a lot of the players we've already looked at. Seawald's out there still at Leipzig. They're not in Europe. He's an excellent young midfielder as well. Agume is out there. Buwadi is out there. There's a ton of midfielders out there. You can go get João Gomez if you want. Just get that done. Danny says, yeah, Kamara, Hackney, Hillman, Hackney. Yeah, remember we were linked with Hillman a couple of weeks back. Do we go back in for him? So who knows what's happening. So we'll see what's going on. Let me get this off the screen here. So, can we afford to wait a year if we miss out on Baleba? And if he's our top target, I can empathize a little bit with the whole, let's not just blow money now. Let's wait and get again, I pointed out Liverpool did that with Van Dijk. That's what you need to do sometimes. But I do think that there are other options out there who wouldn't cost an arm and a leg, who could improve us as well. Even if it's someone like a Lennon Miller, again, Hayden Hackney, Chris Rigg, even things like that. There are options out there. Because right now, because Collier literally just got confirmed as going to West Brom on loan for the year. No buy option, so it's strictly just to go get experience. So he'll be back in a year. So that leaves us. So Eriksson left for free, Collier left for free. We've lost two midfielders who, for all intents and purposes, were first team midfielders, and we haven't replaced them with anybody. So Bruno, Ugarte, Casemiro, Mainu. Amorim made a comment today that depending on certain situations, if we want something different, Mount can be considered in there as well, which I think worries me a little bit. If I'm being honest, I don't want us to start considering Mount as one of these options. It's like an option, but it's not an option. And I know I listen. It's like when people around here, like if you guys ever go to IKEA, like when people are around this area, they're like, well, what do we want to do for lunch? And they start listing like restaurants, and I'm like, oh, we can go to IKEA. And I'm like, that's not a lunch option. That's a furniture store. They've got food. But like, no, Mount he's there, but I don't really consider him that. I like him a little better higher up the pitch, if I'm being honest with that. Let's see. You guys keep getting your your options in for me. Yeah, Box Wharton's up there. He's probably going to cost you. He probably wouldn't cost as much as Baleba, in my opinion. Not saying he's not as good. I just don't think he would cost as much. Just because Brighton have that history of selling high. Crystal Palace don't. Would they get for Eze or not Eze? Elise, what was that, like 50, 60 mil? I can't remember off the top of my head. Supposedly Gehi, if he goes to Liverpool, it won't be for that, like anywhere near what Elise was. So you can get players out of Crystal Palace for cheap, and maybe we could throw them somebody. We can't throw them Collier anymore, so we'd have to do something. Maybe we can give them Shaw. I would absolutely get rid of it. Maybe we could throw them Kone. Dana says, I'd say Amorim thinks Yeoman can't hang in Prem. He gets him otherwise. Yeah, that's a good shout. I mean, I think what we've seen is Amorim has kind of pivoted a little bit in some of his comments. If you notice here and there, he's talking a lot more about like the physicality and stuff in recent weeks. And I think that he spoke about it a little bit with Kobe and how just lacked the physicality and whatnot. I think he's starting to realize, and you have to give him a little bit of grace in here. I think you can kind of believe it with your head, but until you're actually in it, either as a player or as a manager, you can only like understand it so much, and then you get in it and you're like, oh shit, like, yeah, no, this is even harder than we thought in terms of just the physicality and the intensity and the speed that the Premier League operates on. So it's kind of, and I think that was something maybe Ten Hag didn't quite grasp, is that you can't necessarily force the Premier League to accommodate you because you think you're right. Sometimes you have to up your talent identification, up your tactical, up your, just a couple little parts of your system need to get tweaked in order to accommodate the caliber of the league and the level of competition and the nature of it. And so I think Ten Hag maybe struggled a little bit in that regard. Hopefully Amorim is learning. He said he's learning. He said, he's learning all the different things. So Samuel wants to sell Onana. You're preaching. You're getting on my good side, man. Trying to get me to gift memberships by buttering me up. I wish it were that easy. I really do wish it were that easy, Samuel, to sell. It's just not. When Onana's been injured all summer. Some of these players are just not good. They're on high wages. It's not that easy to sell players, and so it's difficult. I think maybe we'll see a couple players leave, probably Garnacho and Sancho. I wonder if Anthony will leave. I really do, but we'll see. In an ideal world, it would be great. So, Box, if we got Baleba and Wharton, it would be a cheat code almost, dude. It would be a cheat code. It wouldn't be fair to the rest of the league because those two are excellent. So really, if you want to be technical, 5 midfield options for that role if you want to include Mount, like Amorim kind of did earlier. But we need some help there because, like I said the other day, Ugarte, not composed, not press resistant, doesn't really have that ball progression we're looking for. He'll do a number when he's already in the final third, similar like McTominay was, but I don't trust him to be the one to get the ball from his own half into the final third, if that would make sense. Like making these runs, linking up a little bit and getting on the end of something, yeah, cool, but that's not what we're actually looking for. Casemiro can't hang. Kobe, too young to start week in, week out, and still needs to develop physically. That's just the way it is, and he needs to work on that passing range. And then Mount, Bruno, it is what it is. We know what we're getting with those. They're known quantities already. So Nubis says, Baleba's saga is so weird. I mean, why would Brighton let Baleba talk to United and then not willing to discuss about transfer? I think they're just playing the game. Personally, Nubis, welcome back, by the way. This is normal. This is, I think people are, I'm not calling you guys this. I'm saying I think people in general are kind of freaking out a little bit too much. This is very, very normal in terms of transfers. Brighton aren't just going to cave to the first thing that United put out there, right? So I think this is very normal. Plus, it's late in the window. Brighton are not probably in too big of a hurry to do with this. I'm sure they've got options lined up and ready to go. Brighton are very, very good at that. And if they sell us Baleba for like 100, 110 million, they're going to be able to go get another option for like 10, 20 million, and they'll be just fine. So um, let's see. Like he says, I'm open. Give them a Sesko. You guys are funny. Oh boy, Jay, welcome back. He said, to be honest, I go for Florentino Luis. Good value for money, cheaper deal at that. I think if you've been watching any Steehausen, I think he mentioned him the other day. Florentino Luis. So he was at Benfica, and he might still be at Benfica. I don't know off the top of my head. I don't know where he is now. He's one of those. He was becoming a little bit of the who's the other guy? The other Portuguese defensive midfielder that seemed like they were getting mentioned like every single week. I don't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, I don't have a problem with Florentino Luis. I just haven't heard much about him in the last couple of years. I was watching him for a while, but that was about it. Danny, I mean, yeah, he's Ugarte definitely wasn't worth 50 million, and a big part of that had to do with the fact that he was not worth that when PSG bought him for that either from Sporting. It's just he was really, really young. I think that when they got him, he was like 21. He wasn't worth that at the time, and so it's kind of like Atletico Madrid paying 100 million for João Felix. He wasn't worth it when you paid for him, but now Atletico Madrid are going to ask for something like that anytime someone wanted to get him. So you are kind of in a way paying for PSG's mistake with Ugarte as well, and so it is what it is, man. These clubs, that's how they be operating, bro. So Brock says never do business with. The only thing I think we need to be doing for Brighton is going and poaching the people in charge of their recruitment, because they seem to buy all the hidden gems. Although basically it's the kind of stuff that Ralph Ragnick was doing. So I'm hoping that with Vivell and Wilcox and stuff, we can kind of emulate a little bit of that. But we're also not a selling club like they are. Brighton are basically a selling club. Let's have it right. They are basically a selling club. That's their whole model right now. Same with Brentford. They're happy with mid-table. They're going to sell players, make the profit. That's how they're going to make their money. And that's like, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm just laying out the facts. Southampton were like that like a decade ago. That was Southampton's thing. But you've seen what happens with Southampton. You reach a point where you start doing that too much and you're not actually focused on trying to win things. And Southampton are now a yo-yo club. It's just, you have to turn a corner. You have to be willing and be bold and be courageous enough as a club like that to start to get a point where you're like, okay, we're not doing that anymore. We'll still operate on a little bit like that, but we need to actually start trying to do stuff, trying to get some trophies and stuff. Now, Brighton had a little bit of a decent spell, a couple of years of where they were qualifying for Europe and whatnot, but let's have it right. They're a selling club. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. So, let's see what y'all are saying. Yeah, we've seen a lot of people mention a lot of different names today. Stiller, Kamara, Agume, Hackney. You guys know about that. I'm not going to mention he who shall not be named because he's at AC Milan these days. So, like he says, Sean, we're only going for experienced guys, not kids. I mean, we signed Aiden Heaven and Lenny Euro. So, I mean, I think we're getting a healthy mix personally. So, Diogo Leon in there as well. Shesko's not super experienced. What is he, like 22, 23? You need a healthy mix. Even the class of 92 had a healthy mix of experience around them as well. You have to have both. And I think we've got a healthy mix of that. The question is just now about level of quality for some of these players and mentality. So Baleba, we'll be keeping an eye on that, obviously, until the transfer window shuts, and we're all probably crying about not getting him. But let's move on to Sancho. We got a little bit of Sancho updates today, guys. Make sure you like and make sure you subscribe if you are new as well. We are on the road to 3K. Probably not going to get the 3K before the start of the season, so it is what it is, but we'll get there. If we can, I'll tell you, I'll make a deal. If we get the 3K before Dylan and I go over there or just after Christmas, we'll do a giveaway. How's that sound? So I might buy something while I'm there for the giveaway, and then the winner will just pick something from the mega store and I'll go get it and I'll bring it back and I'll ship it to you. How's that sound, you guys? So on Sancho, this is coming from Fabrizio Romano. So apparently Roma, who we said they were linked, yeah, they were put into bid. They officially sent their bid for Sancho yesterday, according to Fabrizio. 20 million option or loan with an obligation was the bid. Now he claims, Romano, that Roma are confident that we will accept it, but the question is not whether or not I think we'll accept. I like the obligation, or at least a year ago I would have. It doesn't really seem like it means what it used to mean anymore, but the question is going to be personal terms. Now, Roma are currently speaking to Sancho and his people about terms. Gianluca Di Marzio claims that these talks have been positive. Not really any updates yet, but obviously the kid's on a lot of money. And once you get that money, you don't want to give it up. So it is going to be a question of priorities. Does Sancho want to play and just go prove himself, maybe get into the squad for European, the World Cup? Or does he just want to sit and not play and get his 300K a week or whatever it is he's on? It's really going to be up to him. I think that he just at some point is going to have to grow up, show a little humility, a little self-awareness, and yeah, make a little bit of a sacrifice. Because let's be real, he didn't do anything to earn what he's making at United other than do well at Dortmund. I don't care how well you do at Dortmund. I care how well you do in a United shirt, and you haven't delivered. So if anything, you should be taking that pay cut because you haven't done anything to justify it in the first place. Now, I've said I don't go after players for the price we pay for them. I do blame them a little bit and hold them accountable to the wages because it's them and their agent who negotiate that stuff. And so Sancho has not done anything to justify those wages. So that's where I'll come down on him a little bit. So what are you guys saying out here? Let me get caught up here. Pop, pop. Box says Onana mission failed. Teresa says, in my opinion, if Amorim wanted a midfielder, he'd already have one. He wouldn't leave it so late. Well, yeah, it's not Amorim that's doing it. It's Ineos, it's Wilcox, it's Vavel, it's these guys. Amorim as a head coach, he's involved. He's got his say. They're meeting, but it's not like Amorim is the one going out and doing the negotiating and stuff and things like that. There's only he's got a part to play in a whole transfer process. Wilcox and Barada, they've got a part to play and stuff too. And so everybody's got a role. I think Amorim's role is just not what we've seen from other managers because I think we are moving away from that as a club. It's not, the Fergie days. It's not the Ten Hag stuff where the manager is basically having the say so. I think we're kind of getting away from that, which is good. Nuba says, Sean, I'm waiting for my United shirt. Well, if you want to get one and you don't want to spend an arm and a leg, again, hit that GoGoalShop code. You guys get $5 off, and the shirts are not expensive either. If you want something that doesn't go towards a club, you want something not jersey related, go check out the United vs. Everybody store. Tons of one-of-a-kind gear like the OG green and gold shirt that I'm rocking today. Decided to bring this one back out for today. Got the old school thing, rocking the green and gold for you guys. Yeah, Rob, time to go. Yeah, I think we're all ready to see the back of Sancho. Not that way. Family show. Box says Sancho deserves an award. Biggest MUFC flop in history. Maybe we'll do a thing at the season, the transfer window ratings, where we'll do like player that we were happiest to see the back of. Maybe that'll be an award. Yeah, Lucky, it was a waste. I think it was just a bad signing altogether. It's tantamount to the Casemiro signing, but for different reasons. Just because, like I've said many times, you pay that much, you pay him that much per week. It was only going to go one of two ways. He does really well, and then in a couple of years, you have to give him more money, and you're never going to see that initial fee ever again. You're never going to get more than what we paid for him, so you're just already gone. Or he's going to flop like he did, and you're out that money, and you're paying him week in, week out. So, oh boy. Nubis, we probably have one of those options to, for a year extension. So you can almost look at it as like 2 years. Anytime you we pretty much, it's pretty much standard now. It's 4 or 5 years with an option to extend by 1 year. I think that's pretty much what it is. So, getting caught up here. Yeah, Samuel, I've said that several times that Sir Jim needs to just sell Nice. I don't know anything about the Grand Prix, but he definitely should sell Nice. It's probably only, I don't know how much money Nice brings in. He only paid about 250 million for Nice. He could easily double that and just have some walking around money to maybe put towards, something else at the club. You can't just take that money and put it right into transfers necessarily, but you can put it towards refurbishing something. You could put it towards the new stadium build if you wanted to as well. Servicing the debt. I don't know how eager he's going to be to service debt that the previous owners accumulated though and never touched. So I feel for him in that regard, but you knew what you were getting into, Jimbo. So the excuses are wearing thin for me. Oh, did he actually sign for? I didn't know he actually signed for Udinese. I thought that was one of the options. Interesting. Well, that's a bummer. Significant bummer. He'd been an ideal midfielder. On goalkeepers, I know someone mentioned goalkeepers. Mike McGrath reported today that Senne Lammens is a serious target for Inter Milan, who are set to hold talks with Royal Antwerp at some point in time soon. So if we want a keeper and we want Senne Lammens, we need to move quickly as well, because Inter probably one of the other clubs who could do with a new keeper, in my opinion. And he's too good to just let go personally. Which one would you be more worried about not getting this summer, Lammens or Baleba? Let me know your thoughts in the chat, because if I had, I think the horrific performances of Onana make me really not want to miss out on Lammens, but Baleba is very good. But I think there's a lot of good keepers, or a lot of good midfielders out there. There's not a whole lot of good keepers out there at the moment. So maybe you could get Lammens, like Danny said, you can get Lammens and a midfielder for like 50, 60 million, and you still have a good option. So let's see. Danny says, playing the fans like a bunch of sheep, never serious. We don't know what's happening yet, you guys. We'll wait and see. I would say reserve judgment until the window's over, because we all thought that when the Mbeumo deal took longer than like a week, and we still got him, and we got Shesko like a couple weeks after that. And so let's try to, you do whatever you want. I'm gonna hold off on judging that until the window's done, and that's why we wait until the window's over to rate the transfer window, because I want to see who's left to go, who might be bringing in, and then we'll rate that and then give our predictions. All right. So I know. Rob wants Lammens. I want Lammens too. He's way better than Onana. Let's see. Samuel says, I thought Inter doesn't have any money to buy players. I have no idea what's going on with Inter personally. I'm trying to think if they sold anybody. They sold a couple players. They already bought a couple players too, though. If I remember, they bought Yohan Bani, the young striker, and then Lammens wouldn't cost that much. So we'll see. Well, don't delete YouTube, man. We need you here, man. You keep me going here, dude. I need your scouting insight. I need your opinions and everything. Don't delete YouTube. I would say just hold off to the end of the window, and then you can throw out all the rat emojis, all the the swear, everything you want. We'll do that, but don't go too hard too quickly, because it wasn't even a week ago, Danny, where you're like, I might have changed my mind on Ratcliffe and Ineos, and now you're right back to where you were. So don't let them do that to you, my guy. All right, let's jump into this match preview, because I want to make sure we get to this today. Make sure you like and make sure you subscribe, and guys. So let's talk Arsenal. Let's talk United. Let's talk the return of a bitter, decades-old rivalry. If you guys were of a certain United vintage, you will have remembered a lot of those old mid-90s matches, the early 2000s, Keown, Van Nistelrooy, Vieira versus Keane, all of this kind of stuff. Giggsy, semifinal goal. Remember, I put that poll in the community tab asking what for some of you guys' favorite memories of United versus Arsenal, that rivalry. I put 4 options on there. You guys can go vote when you're done here, or open up a new tab and vote if you want. But yeah, there's a couple. I threw a couple out there, just the big ones, like the 8-2 victory over Arsenal at Old Trafford in 2011 is up there. Giggsy's semifinal goal in the FA Cup, that was excellent. Remember when we beat them 2-0 with 7 defenders in the starting 11? That was a good one. My personal favorite, and you guys, if you guys have been watching this channel for a while, you know my personal favorite Arsenal memory is when they gave us a guard of honor in April of 2013 at the Emirates, after we already locked in the league, and Van Persie was helped us do that. That's because I am that petty tribalism little bitch, and I am happy about it. That kind of stuff. Just gets me soaking wet. So I love it. But everybody's got a different opinion. So When it comes to Arsenal, though, and the head-to-head in recent, what's going on here? Who's got? Danny says should have known. Play me like you did. You guys are funny. Nuva says it's got to be when United finally give Arsenal their first loss after the invincible season. We've beaten them a couple times. So Arsenal are slowly closing the gap when it comes to just head-to-head results over the years. It's 14 wins to us, though, 13 wins for them, and 9 draws thrown in there as well. So we've still got one up on them. The momentum, though, has really been in Arsenal's favor in recent years. We did knock them out of the FA Cup last season, so that was awesome. Despite the referee's best efforts, we did manage to knock them out. That went to pens. You guys remember that Xerxes redemption arc. We did get a 1-1 draw in March, but they beat us 2-0 at the Emirates early last season. I think it was like December last season. So every match is a new day, though. Every season is a new opportunity to swing the banter pendulum back in our favor. Who's fit? How might we line up? What do we need to look for? That's what we're talking. Let's get stuck in. Danny would rather his dog than Amadou Onana. You guys are so funny. Sammy wants to know if I'm going to be doing a watch along. Probably not. Just because, yeah, probably not. Usually I'm watching them someplace else, and so it's just hard for me to bring a lot of all the equipment with me. We'll see. Probably not, though. And then for Fulham, I'm having Dylan and Justin are going to be popping by to watch Fulham, so maybe for that. I don't know yet, but I don't tend to do watch-alongs for the first team just because, like I said, I'm usually watching that someplace. But sometimes we'll do the academy watch-alongs because we do support the academy here. So you guys are funny. So let's look at Arsenal. What we're going to expect to see. So I think Gabriel Jesus probably not going to be fit. I think he's still out for a bit. Trossard looks like he's probably going to miss this one as well. Urian Timber just now coming back from a bit of an issue. He did play the other day, but we'll see if he's ready to start and whatnot. If he starts, he'd probably be right back, even though he's a center back. Don't know why that's a thing for managers these days, turning center backs into right backs, but it is what it is. Just buy a right back. I don't get it, man. What Ben White's there, Timber's there. I don't get that. It is what it is. Everyone else is fit, though, I think, for Arsenal. They've got 6 new signings this summer. They got Musquera, Madueke, Kepa, although, can we count him? Norgard, Zubamende, and Gyökeres, obviously, who Amorim does know well. Maybe that means Amorim could know how to play against him, could know his weaknesses, know how to exploit those. I don't know. It could be interesting. It adds another little layer to this, correct? So, are we all Bournemouth fans tonight? Nice. 2-2. Dude, big up, man. This is why I'm like, Iriola deserved manager of the season for what he did last year, man. They kind of fell off a little bit later on the season, but for a minute there, it was looking like it was all guns blazing. Oh, you guys are funny. You guys are funny. Nuba says, bring your wife's computer along. Well, I've got 2 computers here. So one of them is for streaming because my old laptop can't handle it. My old laptop has got my notes on it, though, so I've got 2 computers lined up, but we'll see. You guys are hilarious. If Liverpool loses, I'm gonna die laughing. I don't remember what my prediction was, so you guys know I don't do fantasy. I do Super Brew score prediction. I don't remember what my prediction was for this Liverpool match. It probably was 3-1 Liverpool, though. So Danny wants Iriola. If Hammer shits the bed by Halloween, I would take Iriola. I thought for a second the way that Bournemouth were playing last season that he could go to City if Pep left. I thought he was doing that well with what he had. And that is why I have massive respect for guys like Thomas Frank, Iriola, even Eddie Howe to extent, even though Newcastle have really good players. This is something that we haven't seen a whole lot of since Fergie. Just getting a lot out of players who on paper are nowhere near as good as the players that Pep has and things like that. That I respect that, and nobody's come close to what Fergie's done in that regard. So we're going to talk about starting 11s in a little while. You can't open the book of the stream and jump straight to the end, Samuel. You gotta go along for the ride. It's a journey. We're all in it together. We're building drama. We're telling stories here on the channel. So Arsenal, it's Arsenal. Really it's Arsenal fans that make Arsenal so just miserable to deal with. Their fans just it's like a spectator sport in itself, watching some of their fans throughout the year just build themselves up and then make all the excuses for Arteta, for everyone else. Joel Bay is probably the worst one. I'm not trying to be like personally attack him. He kind of exemplifies the Arsenal fans to a T. I mean, lose a few friendlies this summer and they're already writing off the season. The excuses are coming. One win though, in a friendly against Bilbao with Gyökeres finally scoring a goal. And apparently this year is their year, right? It's just these Arsenal fans, God bless them. Keyword, friendlies. So looking at form, it's going to be difficult for both of sides. This is like coming straight off of the summer. So you don't want to look too much at form. Preseason's not really going to do much. But we can work with what we know based on what we've seen a little bit of, because you do see a little bit of tactical stuff. Obviously, Arsenal like to work possession up the pitch. They like to utilize Bukayo Saka, get that ball, get everybody drawn in and around that box. Saka's going to play those cutbacks, look for these excellent little through balls from Odegaard, all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of movement in and around the box, a lot of targets, especially if you look at some of their new set piece routines, which, quite frankly, I'm going to make it bigger so y'all can see. There we go. So this was from a friendly. If you look at this corner that they're taking, look at the 5 Arsenal players sitting on the edge of the box. This is what they've been doing. So remember last year, it was all crowd the keeper, crowd the keeper, crowd the keeper. And now they're probably going to do that again because it worked. But they've added another string to their bow again, utilizing movement that they tend to utilize from open play. But you've got 5 players. And when that ball's whipped in, these players are going all sorts of different areas. They're confusing the opposition. It's really difficult to do that. You've got a lot of movement. You can't stick with them because you're going to run into each other. Very, very difficult. We really have to be careful of these things because Arsenal we are not great at defending balls in the box. Arsenal are very good at scoring from those chances. It's really not a good look for us. I'm dreading anytime we concede a corner. Onana, drop that ball at 8 seconds, because if we concede corners because you didn't know the new rule, I'm going to fly over there and I'm going to slap you upside the head. I shit you not. When it comes to open play, though, pressure on the player with the ball is going to be a must. We cannot let Arsenal put balls in the box. We cannot let Saka, Martinelli, whoever they start, we cannot let them have just free run of our third. We just can't. We have to have awareness of their movement as well. So whoever's playing fullback, God, please don't let it be Dallo, because he's the worst at putting pressure on the ball. They have to be mindful of that. Don't let Saka do whatever he wants. Don't let him cut in onto his left. Just force him wide. It's like day one stuff as a fullback. Now they've also got an actual number 9 in Gyökeres, which does also offer a new threat, something that we're not used to from Arsenal. So they haven't created a ton of quality chances throughout preseason. Again, whatever, it is what it is, preseason. They've been a bit sloppy in preseason too. A lot of errors that have gifted some chances to the opposition. Now, better, more clinical sides will have taken advantage of those chances. So Arsenal, they can be a bit sloppy, and so we've seen that. So let me get caught up on you guys here. Let's see. Danny's going 3-1 United. Look at you guys. Nubis says, for me, City is the favorite to win Premier League. So many pundits looking down on City and put Liverpool on the pedestal. Been saying that Trent played a huge role over the year. I mean, yeah, when you're just spamming about 100 balls in the box, eventually one's going to find somebody. That's pretty much what Trent did. So Samuel wants Eddie Howe. I've never been super convinced on Eddie Howe personally, but you give him credit. He's doing decent with them. So Nubis thinks Shaw is going to start. Interesting. So, yeah, we'll get there. So that's Arsenal, what we've kind of seen from them in preseason, what we know they're going to be good at, what we know who's going to be their threats and things. We know what to expect. We just have to just be on it. And at Old Trafford, we have no excuse to be switched off, especially with the threats that they have. So we went unbeaten in preseason ourselves. So naturally, 21 is coming. Let's just be honest, right? But what Amorim wants to do, you can see he's doing it. He's inviting pressure. He's moving that ball, exploiting the space left in the middle of the pitch when we invite the press. We want to move that ball through the midfield, work it up the pitch. We want to use patience, precision, high percentage. I saw a stat from The Athletic the other day that said last season, only Manchester City were ahead of Amorim's Manchester United when it came to this patient ball progression. So we want players who are good on the ball, who are smart on the ball, who can withstand the press and move that ball carefully but precisely as well. This has a lot to do with the three-man defense, which also it's meant to give us a little more protection should we lose the ball, but it's all down to positioning and awareness. I'd like to see us personally move the ball just a little quicker, a little more assertively, a little bit more direct, take advantage of space in behind when the counterattack is on, when the long ball is on. It doesn't all have to just be forced slow. I like to see a little bit more aggression, a little bit more, let's go and do this. That same article in The Athletic reported that a third of our passes, though, were also between our center backs last season, and they were side to side more often than not. So again, too slow. We've seen that way too many times. Get the ball to the wing back stops, passes it back to the center back. We just cycle that ball. So a third of our passes last season were between the center backs side to side. Not progressive enough, not intentional enough, not aggressive enough, in my opinion. We need to be more direct in that. Maybe we'll see something different with some runners. Now that we've got Cunha, we've got Mbuma, we've got more threats. Dorgu, Ahmad, Shesko. It could be different. It could have been down to personnel. I don't know, but I'm just throwing out that number. But it also could be down to a lack of technical center backs in a system that does rely on its defenders being comfortable on the ball. You know, your defenders just aren't good enough, aren't press resistant enough, like the high pressing sides we saw last year. That slow progression, that careful side to side passing is going to be amplified. And so it's difficult. So you guys think City you're going for it, huh? So when we do get the ball up the pitch, I do want to see, and I expect to see a little bit more fluid, free roam, interchanging movement from Cunha, Mbeumo, strikers, whatever, which will hopefully confuse Arsenal. We saw a little bit of that in preseason. There was a little bit of a sprinkling of like that 07, 08, 09 front three of Tevez, Ronaldo, Rooney, where they're all on paper, they lined up a certain way, but in given moment, they had a freedom to kind of do what they needed to do, which I like to see. This is what happens when you get experienced, quality technical players who know when to do things, when not to do things, and where to do them. You know, as opposed to the likes of Garnacho, who's just young, or Højlund, who's just young. Savvy, intelligent movement that we've been missing because we've just had too many young players, or just not players who weren't good enough. Movement like that comes from experience and just being quality. It's just the way it is. Then you get the energy and the willingness to get the ball into the box from guys like Ahmad and Dorgu. I think I like to see them pin players back from Arsenal when you've got, more attackers on the pitch than defenders. I'd like to see. I don't want to see us drop into the back five all the time. We're at home. We have to take it to them. We have to start pinning them back. We have to start giving. If we get the ball off the pitch, we lose it, we need to win it immediately in their half and just keep that pressure on. We saw that a little bit in preseason as well. I want to see it again. Don't let them get through us so quickly and so easily like we've also seen teams do. We have to do better at that as well. Speaking of attackers, there's the Shesko factor as well. He's an unknown quantity in the Premier League, full of potential. Arsenal wanted him for years. We wanted him for years. It's going to be an important match for him. I mean, who knows? Maybe if we actually see some crosses and some headers, he's 6'5". He's out jumping literally everybody. If we can get some balls in the box from open play, you never know. Question is it going to be too soon for Shesko? Amorim said in his presser that physically he's ready. Mentally he's ready, but will he start? Is he up to speed with the system and stuff? Does he look like he can do what's asked of him? I like what Amorim had to say about Shesko. That he's got good mentality. He's asking questions. He's working hard. He's not kind of taking things for granted. He seems like he gets what it is to play for United, the expectations, the pressure, the level you've got to get at. He's constantly working hard. Amorim said he doesn't worry about his work ethic or his ability to handle that pressure. He said of the players, he's not worried about him. And so it could just be manager talk, but you can't lie about the fact that if someone's asking questions and stuff and wanting to work hard, it is what it is. Xerxes back fit, according to Amorim. Does he start ahead of Højlund? If Højlund's still here by Sunday, who knows? Mazraoui and Licha both still out, though, according to Amorim. Onana reportedly fit as well, so we'll see what happens there. My score prediction will look drastically different whether or not Onana starts, though. So we'll see. What are you guys saying here? Danny says, I assume you're talking about Shesko, Danny. Shesko has to start. Let's see. I'm going to try and get caught up for here. So now's the time where we look at starting 11. Who do you guys want to see? Who do you think we're going to see? This is how I would line up tomorrow or Sunday. Sorry, I went very very strong. Um, I'll address a key missing point in a second. So I would definitely, if Shesko's fit, if he seems like he's in good form, if he seems like, just start him. Like, just start him. Like, you guys know I like to start strong. I don't want to come in and have to chase a game with a new signing. I think that that's not an ideal situation. Start strong, get your best three up there. You paid a lot of money for them, you chased them. Start all three of them. I want to see Ahmad. I want to see Dorgu. Both have looked excellent preseason. I do think it's probably going to be Casemiro, just because, and this is not even just because I think this is what's going to happen. Ugarte has not looked great in preseason. He's been very, very poor. And I think that Casemiro, he's got experience. Now, he doesn't have legs, but I don't think that with like Zubamende or Odegaard, you have to worry too much about legs. You just have to worry about the passing. And so I don't think this is a game where we have to worry necessarily about a midfield battle and a lot of runners through midfield. I think you're going to see them use the wide spaces a lot, try to find Odegaard. And I think that Casemiro can be fine. I'm going Euro, De Ligt, and you guys know I'm not a fan of Shaw, and Shaw hasn't really looked that great in preseason. I'm actually going with Aiden Heaven personally, because I think that he's got composure, he's got the physicality, he's got the passing range, and I think he's got that precociousness of youth to do things that I think Shaw has just not looked willing or capable to do recently. And so I like that idea. He could get caught out probably, simply because he's young. We saw that in preseason as well against West Ham. Got a little caught between two minds for that Jared Bowen goal. That's going to happen. I'm not too worried about that, because he's going to have Dorgu, who's going to be in there, and then Bruno is going to be tracking back. Bruno is going to cover midfield. But this right now is probably some of the best we can do. An argument could be made for Mainu, but I worry about a midfield of Bruno and Mainu. So you guys, what is your starting 11? What would you like to see? Now, this is just what I like to see. It's not what I think is going to happen. It's probably going to be Shaw, not Heaven. I wouldn't be surprised if Shesko doesn't start, and maybe we put Mbumo as a central role, put Ahmad as a 10, and I wouldn't be surprised if that happens to see Dallo as a right wing back. Personally, it's not what I want, but Danny says that midfield is suicide. It's just, we literally just starved of options right now. So it's really, really rough. Danny would not start Heaven. We just don't have a whole lot of other options. And I think that I like what I've seen from Heaven more than I like what I've seen from Shaw. The only other option would be to put like De Ligt wide and put Maguire central. And I don't trust De Ligt in a wide position as center back either, because Mizraoui is just not fit. What we got? Lucky. I think that's too many players, bud. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You got too many players. Danny, that's why I didn't put him in there, because I think that if I were picking a starting 11 of who we had, I just wouldn't even start him. I didn't even put him in my starting 11, man. I'm done with this guy. Bruno, anything with Bruno is going to get tore up. If we were playing against, like, I don't know, Fulham, Newcastle, Liverpool, it'd be a different story. But again, playing the opposition that we're doing right now, and when it comes to moving the ball the way Amorim wants to move it, Bruno is your best option. We knew that this is where Bruno is going to play. If we signed Cunha, we signed Mbumo. There's an option to maybe put him as a false 9, but again, then you're down to the midfield, and the midfield is just not good enough. It's just not. Maybe you could argue Mount can go in there, but we'll see. Danny says, yeah, I'd be very bare this season, mid-table if we're lucky. If we make another signing in midfield, perhaps. But so there's a lot of different ways we could line up. I wouldn't be surprised again if Shesko didn't start, because maybe Amorim just doesn't think maybe it's too soon. I wouldn't be surprised to see Mount as a false 9 like he was against Fiorentina. There's a lot of things going on here. So, but you guys let me know. Keep getting your thoughts in. So, because now we're going to score prediction. Let me get this off the screen. So, really, to me, this, like I said, there's a lot of little mini battles going on in here. There's a battle between two managers who are under a lot of pressure this season for very, very different reasons. Both of them need a big statement win to kind of try to, show us something. Arteta needs a trophy this season, like period. He just has to. An opening day win though against United at Old Trafford would be the perfect start for him. After our struggles last year, 15th place, all that talk about suffering, and then you look at the caliber of players we brought in this summer. Amorim needs to buy himself a bit of good faith from this fan base and from his bosses. He needs to win as well. Yeah, he got us to Europa League final, but he also, in my opinion, played a big part on why we didn't win that final as well with the team selection. This has been his first preseason with the squad, so I will give him that. But 15th place last year, yes, last year is last year. We can draw a line over, but people don't forget. Ineos won't forget. It does kind of start you a little bit in the negative. He does have a bit of a hill to climb to get back to neutral for a lot of fans. I'm not saying sack him if we lose, but a win would be a big statement. And the manner of the win could show us, too, that our patience and our faith in him and his system and what we're building is been rewarded a little bit. So it's a big match for both managers for sure. What are you guys saying here? Nuba says, "Damn, 4-2 now." Oh man. Well, we kind of all knew that. For a second, there was hope, right? Bexy, welcome back. Says United walking away from Baleba was wise. 100 million. Well, we don't know what. Supposedly, Brighton never gave us a number. We put in an offer. Brighton just said he's not for sale, so we don't know. But you're never going to get a midfielder like that out of Brighton for less than 100 million. It's just not going to happen. So they tend to sell big. They tend to sell a lot. So Bexy says draw written all over it. What are you guys saying here? Lucky says Manchester United can look using keep working set pieces, gets ball. If we can get ball into the box, I trust Shesko. But Bexy's going with a draw. Let's see. So score predictions. I'm actually going to agree with you, Bexy. I'm actually going to go 1-1 draw for this one. I think this will be a little bit patient because both teams are going to be playing very similar. I think this is going to come down to balls into the box. I think this has got 1-1 draw all over it. I'm going Bruno to score for us. So you guys let me know your thought. Lucky's going 2-2. I'm going 1-1. Also, while you're getting in your picks for your score predictions, let me know some of your favorite Arsenal United memories. We kind of listed a couple of them. Maybe it wasn't a moment, maybe it wasn't a match, maybe it was just like maybe it was the aura of Keane versus Vieira all those times. Maybe it was the whole drama of Van Nistelrooy, Keown, penalty, all that kind of stuff. Let me know. You guys know what mine is, so we don't need to go ahead again. Danny says 1-1 draw. Yeah, that's my pick. I'm going 1-1 draw. That was my pick in Super Brew. That's what I'm going with. 1-1 draw to start the season against Arsenal. Wouldn't be the worst start considering Arsenal and what they've been doing and how long they've been building versus how short a time. So Bando Mac, welcome back. Said the Giggsy goal. That was pretty much almost everybody's pick in the poll in the community tab. My pick, you guys know, it's the Guard of Honor at the Emirates in 2013 after we won the league and Robin Van Persie was in our team just because I am a petty little bitch. Bexy says, what signings will United make before the window ends? We'll see. I put the poll up there. What's it at right now? What do you guys think is going to happen with Baleba? 38% of you do not think it's going to happen. 25% still thinks we're signing him. 31% of you want to move on to plan B, and 6% say wait a year and still get him. So a lot of Baleba fans out there. So what's the score at right now with this Bournemouth match, you guys? Make sure you like in the video, please. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, you guys. Check the memberships. Check GoGoalShop. The code is right there below the video. If you register with that code, you get $5 off if you want your new United gear. They've got all 3 United shirts this year already. If you don't want a jersey, 4-2, huh? Interesting. If you don't want a jersey but you want some swag and you don't want to give the Glazers or Ineos any money, your call. Also, check out the United vs. Everybody store. A lot of one-of-a-kind gear. You can see some of it down below. What is going on? This computer is just messing all sorts of stuff. Nuva says, on the bright side, Brighton never put a price on Caicedo too. Chelsea made a bid. Brighton just accepted it. Maybe United should just put 100 million, 20 million add-ons. And that's kind of the thing. If you guys remember, yeah, like you're saying, Brighton did the same. Liverpool and Chelsea are both interested, and Brighton just kind of let them duke it out. So that's the thing, though. We almost have a free run at Baleba right now if we really want him. And so it's one of those things where it comes down to recruitment, this build, and how badly they want him. If they think he's the right guy, if he's their number one choice, you almost just have to go do it. But if he's not, and Brighton for sure, just like, nope, not selling. Do we move on or do we wait? Your guys' call. You guys let me know what you think. Bandomac is going 2-1 United. I have faith. I like your positivity. Big up, Bandomac. So get your score predictions. If you guys weren't able to catch the live, not a problem. Leave your thoughts, leave your starting 11s, leave your score predictions in your comments, leave your Baleba reactions in the comments as well. I always read those, and I try my best to respond to everyone. Sometimes YouTube doesn't show me all of them, so I'll try my best to make sure I find them. If I need to go searching, not a problem. But we will be back maybe tomorrow with obviously, if there's enough new news to talk about, we'll talk about that. I have a scouting report special that we can do as well to make sure we're just getting in touch with everybody. So you'll see. Keep that notification bell hit so you can make sure you don't miss out on anything. But we will be back, and then, of course, match on Sunday. So it's going to be a big match. So I like that we're kicking off against Arsenal. It gets a difficult match out of the way. It's a good rivalry to kick things off with. It's a big match. A lot of drama, a lot of results. Don't look too heavily on it, depending on the result. No, I don't want to see any amorim out stuff if we lose, but hopefully we'll get a point at least. I predicted 1-1. Let me know. Thank you guys for stopping by today and enjoying a little bit of your Friday afternoon with me. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Friday. Don't worry too much if Liverpool won. We kind of all knew that was going to happen. So until next time, though, take it easy. Like the video, subscribe, check those memberships if you're well. Make sure that bell is notificationed. And I will see you guys on the next one. Later.